What you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John Brown come for you? Tell me what you wanna do.
Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're here on your hometown station, KHTS, AM 1220 with the Neighborhood Watch. Deputy Josh Dubin, Deputy Jonathan Wilson, Deputy Regina Yost in the house. Thank you for coming by, you guys. Yep. And Deputy Yost, you were very graciously sitting on the hot seat and telling us about your Sheriff's Department career. Where were you trained at?
I trained out here at Santa Clarita Station.
Oh, you
We had 3 great training officers out here.
Now, there's an academy at College of the Canyons, right? Did you train at that one? Or?
Yes, I trained up here at the North Academy.
Oh, okay. Was Captain Johnson there when you were... Because he trained some of the deputies.
Actually,
here.
Captain Johnson was my ramrod in the academy, so yes.
Okay. Another term that you're throwing out there. What's ramrod?
Ramrod was the one that overseed the academy.
Okay.
He was like the main guy, and then there were like the 5 DIs underneath him that were deputies.
Deputies in... What's DI stand for? You guys have a whole nother language I need to learn. I need to like a...
So the ramrod is like
civilian.
the head deputy drill instructor, and then there's 5 other drill instructors, all of which are supervised by a drill instructor sergeant, all of which are supervised by a drill instructor lieutenant.
There you go.
All of which were very intimidating.
All of which are very intimidating with smoky
And
bear
all of them
hats.
who have now promoted.
My experience is like with training, and not personally, but you just see it on TVs, people like yelling and screaming, getting in your face. Is that a little bit like, is that how they try to motivate you there at the...
100%.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They're trying to weed out
Right.
the weak ones in the
People who
beginning.
don't want it bad
Yes.
enough. Talk to me about like an average day in the training facility.
Let's see, we'd probably get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be there by 6:30. The day would start with either like classroom assignment or PT, which is physical training. We'd go out onto the COC campus, the track field, and since I started the academy in the wintertime, it was freezing cold out
I
there.
bet, yeah.
So there we are standing
Especially
there in
at
these
that
little
hour.
dolphin shorts and T-shirts, at attention, and, they're yelling at you to get stuff done and run, and, we probably get out of the academy within, an 8-hour day, probably 8.5-hour day.
And what about you, Deputy Wilson? Were you training out here also?
You talking about my academy time?
Yeah, was it at College
No,
of the
I
Canyons?
was in Whittier. I was at Star Center.
Oh, okay.
So I lived out here, and I drove down to Star Center every day for 5 months.
Ooh, that's a pretty
Yeah, so
early
it's-
wake-up call, huh?
I had 2 carpool partners, both quit on me, so I ended up doing it by myself.
Oh, jeez.
I was up at 3:30 in the morning every day to be at the academy at 6.
Now, what's it like? Because you were talking about, kind of weeding people out and trying to... So how many started and how many finished with your class?
I think we had 116 people or 108 people that started the class, and we graduated with 80.
Oh, okay. That was a decent cutoff.
Yeah.
Is this the conditioning, or you think for...
Conditioning, testing. Some of the tests you have to get an 89% just to pass.
What type of stuff do they test you on?
They're gonna stuff like that is gonna be like your force policy, stuff like that.
Laws of arrest,
Yeah.
department policy,
How to conduct
California
yourself as a
state
deputy,
laws, how to conduct yourself as a deputy sheriff. Yeah, it's stressful. You got to keep up a high academic score while keeping up your physical conditioning, while keeping up your uniform appearance, while keeping up your, all the other things going on. So, these are standards set by the, post,
Right.
the
Yeah,
peace officer
yeah.
standard and training through the state of California.
And you only
So-
get one chance to take the test. I mean, if you fail that test, you get one chance to remediate. If you can't get that done, then you're out of the academy.
Oh, they'll kick you out. Oh, okay.
You're done, and that's set by post.
Oh, okay. So there's like certain standards, and then like what if you couldn't cut it for that class? Could you try again if you really wanted to?
That's up to the academy staff. I think they'll
okay.
give you an opportunity,
Like evaluate.
put you in the next one if they feel like you were a good recruit.
So you have a little bit of a background in law enforcement predating, right? Talk to me a little bit about that, because I heard you at the coffee with the captain. Captain Roosevelt Johnson's been going out in the community and with zone leaders and talking to different community members in each of the 8 zones. It's 8 zones, right?
8 zones,
Yes.
yes.
And you were at the Canyon Country West at the Starbucks, I believe.
Yes.
And you were talking to me a little bit about your background, how you got into the sheriff's department.
Yeah, my father was a deputy. He came on in '83, so I was 3 years old, and I remember him graduating, so that's why I wanted to be a deputy. 'Cause I just wanted to be like my dad. So
It's and where was he serving at the time? Was that out here or?
he went to Men's Central Jail for custody. Then he went to Lenox Station when it was around. Now it's South LA Station.
No.
And then came out here as a detective. Or I'm sorry, as a patrol deputy. And then worked family crimes out here as a detective.
Okay. And how long have you been with the station?
With the station?
With Santa Clarita.
With Santa Clarita, I've been here since 2010, so 4 years.
Now, was your first assignment, all deputies, you start in a lockup facility, right? Is that
Back
policy,
when
or
we were going through,
has
yes.
that changed?
It has changed.
Oh, okay. What's the situation now?
Situation now is you have an opportunity to either stay in custody your whole career or come out to patrol and do some real work.
Okay. So either way, though, you'll start in custody.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And the court system is part of custody too. So we have
Oh,
a
okay.
jail facility inside the
Is there like
lockup area.
a better custody assignment as opposed to like?
A lot of people go to courts because you get the weekends and holidays off, whereas if you're at the jails,
well,
you
they don't close on the
They don't
weekends,
close.
certainly.
That's correct.
All right, all right. And talk to me a little bit about the CPU. How did you guys get assigned to specific zones? How does that work? Are you just told, hey, you're in Valencia and you're in Canyon Country West, or do you apply for?
Well, I came on in January, so
He's the newbie.
I'm the newest one in the group, and
You know what? I'm sorry, Deputy Wilson.
Okay.
We got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on your hometown station. Hear about Crime Prevention Unit from Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station deputies on your neighborhood watch, KHTS AM 1220.
What you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John don't come for you?
You can point out that
Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're here on your hometown station, KHTS AM 1220, with Deputy Josh Dubin, Deputy Jonathan Wilson, and Deputy Regina Yost. We talk about all things Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Department related every first and third Thursday of the month. And we were just talking about the Crime Prevention Unit, and Deputy Yost, you were telling me something I didn't know about it.
Yes, when the Crime Prevention Unit first got started, I was part of community relations, and at that time it consisted of 4 deputies and 2 sergeants. At that time, we got a new captain, which was Paul Becker, and he decided to move things around a little bit. So they absorbed the community relations into the Crime Prevention Unit. So I kind of got thrown into that mix, and I've been there ever since. So I think we've now been at Crime Prevention Unit now since April of 2011.
Okay. And have you always been in charge of the Valencia zone?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So how did you...
I've had opportunities to leave that zone because it is one of the busiest zones.
Right.
Because I handled the mall, the auto center, and all the residential
just
areas.
a lot of things
It-
seem
it's
to
just a
happen
very
at
big
that
city.
area.
and it's one of the largest zones also,
Well, yeah.
geographically.
Right, and population-wise, it's probably up there with
Right.
Canyon Country East, I think, is the other most popular. Or do they try to divide them all so that you have relatively even populations? How does that work?
I think East and West was divided a little bit because it was such a big
I know
part of
there's
Canyon
so
Country.
many, yeah.
There was no really easy way to divide Valencia, so I do share parts of Saugus with my other partner, Deputy Mark Manskar. So he handles a lot of the county part and Saugus area. As
What
well.
about the Castaic region? You kind of, I mean, I know there's this different Castaic zone.
That
there's
would be
some
handled by,
overlap, right?
no, I don't get any of the overlaps.
Oh, okay.
Valencia is strictly all city. I don't have any county in there.
Okay, and what about you, Deputy? When did you get started with the Crime Prevention Unit? Because you were on patrol here before, right?
I
in
was,
Santa
yeah.
Clarita Station.
I was in the 6'3" boy car, which is
That's your call number, right?
that was
You hear it
the
on the
Jake's Way
scanner.
car when they incorporated that area.
So you were one of the deputies that was assigned. I know the city requested extra support in that area when they annexed Jake's Way, right?
Yes.
So you were part of that initial detail.
Yes, and we just went in there and had a lot of fun and did a lot of work, and I put in the spot opened up for a CPU. So I put in for it, and I got chosen.
Okay. So is there like an application process, or is it just like you kind of?
You'd have to ask these guys. I don't know how. I guess it went to a vote, and
It went to a vote. I mean,
Okay.
people put in for the spot, and they had interviews with our sergeant, lieutenant, and it was based on your job performance at the station and how well you knew the area and the concept of the Crime Prevention Unit.
What's the difference between when you're a deputy on patrol and then you're a zone leader? What new responsibilities go onto the plate?
I had no idea. When you're on patrol, that's your 8 hours, and you get to go home, and it's over. With the CPU, you bring a lot of stuff home. You're constantly thinking about things. You're thinking of changing things and trying to work out whatever problems going on in your area. And you're just constantly thinking, stuff to do.
And I understand that. From my impression, is that there's a lot of crime analysis that goes into the zone leading.
Yeah, I had
zone
no
leader
clue.
Activities. What's that like? Because Regina, we've talked about some stories as far as trying to get the message out on certain things when you see crime trends taking place.
What we're doing is, the beginning of the week, we start off by reading all the crimes for that area. So, like for Valencia, that has the most documented incidents occurring. I'm not saying it is the worst part of the Santa Clarita area, but there is a lot of reports being taken there.
Right.
So I'll be averaging 15 to 25 reports that I read on a weekly basis. And then from there, I'm gathering information as to where there's the trend. Did I have the same kind of crime occurring in this neighborhood last week? Do we have a lead on, a parolee or a probationer that just got out? And if they're roaming in that area, we're constantly looking at those figures. So, like, my partner's saying, we go home and think about, what's the next operation? What's the next plan of attack type of thing. So.
Okay.
The whole concept was to lower the crime rate in this specific zones, though. So, while Valencia has, the largest area geographically, each zone has its own challenges. And then, those challenges change week by week. What may be a trend this week, we may go out and make an arrest, and then that trend stops, but then something else might pop up in, the additional week. And then a lot of it is, besides that, a lot of it is the outreach, and that's part of this show and the social media and the Nixle reports that we do and different things like that. So to add on top of that,
you were in Newhall, right?
I was. I started out as the zone leader for the Newhall area, which was now taken over by Deputy Dantes.
Okay.
But and I was chosen for that because I specifically worked patrol and was a training officer in the Newhall area. So I had an intimate knowledge of the Newhall area.
Gotcha.
And then that kind of transitioned over. I already knew many of the community members. Just like Deputy Wilson was assigned to the Caney Country West area while he was on patrol. He knew many of the community members. He knew what was going on in that area and the challenges that were faced. And so he was the best selection to, combat those different trends and to ultimately lower the crime rate, while doing outreach to the people, many of which he already knew.
So the sheriff's department actually, or the sheriff's station, I should say, they split you guys up on patrol, so you generally are patrolling the same area day in and day out, or
Yes.
regularly, so
Yeah.
help you develop that. All right, cool. Well, I have a few more questions. We're going to take a quick commercial break on your hometown station, KHTS AM 1220.